Test. Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday Dharma service. And a special welcome to those of you who are joining us for the first time. We will begin with the ringing of the kansho, and then if you would follow along with the chanting of Jusege, you can either follow along on the screen or page 93 in the purple service book.
Gene 作名ご祭主役難大地へ言めしこもあんへそくしょあくのくだれしゅもんこそじょまぞいよろじっぽいちがしゅじゅき天候ぶげ一種解放像公正読法上大集中説法ししく供養一切仏具足種特本がね心情満国一三がよ女文無下地十段未不詳願学エリ都市最小村志願や国家大戦王冠の国書天人法地名家ナマナムナマナムナマナムナマNamandap, namandap, 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 namandap.
Now we will have the reading of the three treasures and Sankyemon.
I invite you all to join me in putting our hands together as we recite the three treasures. Hard is it to receive a human form. Now we have received it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma. Now we hear it. If we do not receive awakening in this life, in what life shall we do so? Let us reverently take refuge together in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. Together with all beings, may we attain the great way of enlightenment, awakening to the supreme intent of the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. Together with all beings, may we enter the storehouse of Dharma, acquiring wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. Together with all beings, may we become united at the great assembly, being free of all bondage. Hard is it to encounter the supreme, profound, and wondrous Dharma, even in 100,000 million kalpa. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true intent of the Tathagata. Sankyemon. Ninjin ukegatashi imasure ni uku. Buppo kikigatashi imasure ni kiku. Konomi konjo ni mukatte dosezun ba, sarani izure no shou ni mukatte ka konomi o dosen. Daishu moro tomo ni shishin ni sanbo ni kieshi tate matsuru beshi. Mizu kara butsu ni kieshi tate matsuru. Masa ni negawaku wa shujo to tomo ni daido o taige shite mujo yo okosan. Mizu kara ho ni kieshi tate matsuru. Masa ni negawaku wa shujo to tomo ni fukaku kyozo ni irite chie umi no gotoku naran. Mizu kara so ni kieshi tate matsuru. Masa ni negawaku wa shujo to tomo ni daishu o tori shite issai mugen naran. Mujo jinjin ni myo no ho wa 100,000 万語にもあようことかたし、我今検問し従事することを得たり、願わくは如来の真実義を下し立てまつらん。ナモアミダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏。
Now Reverend Umezu will deliver her Dharma message.
Good morning, everyone. I invite you to please join me with hands together as I read a passage that comes from the Sutra of Immeasurable Life. When I have fulfilled the Buddha way, if there is nowhere my name is not heard in the 10 directions of the universe, I will not take enlightenment. Namanda, namanda, namanda. Good morning again, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Good. Thank you so very much for those of you who are here on Zoom, thank you for being here. For those of you who are here in person, thank you for braving this weather to come out today. I'm still cold. And if anybody's joining us for the first time, whether in person or in Zoom, thank you very much for being here with us today to listen to the Buddha's teaching here at West LA. The passage that I've just read, as I mentioned, comes from the Sutra of Immeasurable Life. And specifically, it comes from Jusege, which is the gatha that we just chanted this morning. It is the translation of the third stanza. Gashi jobutsudo, myosho chojipo, kukyo mishomon, seifu josho gaku. So this is a passage that we chant every regular Sunday service here at West LA. In this passage, it is part of the story of Dharmakara Bodhisattva declaring that their Bodhisattva practice, that through their Bodhisattva practice, their Buddha name, Namo Amida Butsu, will be heard in all 10 directions by all beings. And the Bodhisattva is pledging that if it is not the case that their name is not heard, then they will not take full enlightenment. As we know, the reason that Dharmakara Bodhisattva vowed that their name, once they became a Buddha, will be heard in all directions is because their fundamental vow is to reach out to all beings without discrimination or favor, so that all beings can aspire to leave behind this world full of hardship and suffering and be directed to go to Buddha's realm of joy, to become Buddha themselves. This is the essence of Amida Buddha's vow. So through Buddha's name that is being shared, we are all being invited to become Buddha in Buddha's Pure Land. What we should note, I think, though, is that although this passage is implying that Buddha's name is being shared aloud, the emphasis is not on the name being said, but the emphasis is on the name being heard. And it also states the consequence of the name not being heard. If it is not heard, the Buddha will cease being a Buddha. This is how important it is for Amida Buddha that their name be heard by everyone. But we should reflect, what is this passage trying to teach us about the importance of our hearing the name Namo Amida Butsu? To share my appreciation about the meaning of this passage, I would like to talk today about greeting cards and invitations. At the end of the year, many of us have the tradition of sending holiday cards or year-end cards to our family and friends. Is this something that you all do? Yeah. Some people send store-bought cards, maybe with a little handwritten note. Some people make cards. Sometimes people share letters about the highlights of what their family did for the year. And lately I noticed that it's the trend to get cards of family photos printed at Shutterfly or Costco. And people just send that out. Regardless of what kind of cards that we send or receive, I was taught that part of polite social etiquette is to let the person who sent the card know that we received their card, whether it be through a phone call or the next time that we see them. And if the person is not already on our card exchange list, that we send them a card back. Just a few weeks ago, in March, I want to emphasize in March, Marie and I received 2 envelopes in the mail which were clearly not bills or junk mail. They were some kind of greeting card. We weren't expecting anything. And I noticed that one of the cards was from my brother. And I was very curious. I was wondering, why did my brother send me something now? Because we never send random mail to each other unless we tell each other we have to send something. So I opened it up, and it was a greeting card wishing us Happy New Year in 2024. So at first, I was really confused about why they were sending us a New Year's card now. And I thought, well, I guess better late than never. And I was going to text my brother and give him a hard time about sending him the card, about him sending me the card. But as I was looking at the envelope, it was postmarked December 2023. So my brother did send the card at the appropriate time, but somehow this card was lost in the mail for 3 months. So when I saw a picture of this, I took a picture of the postmark date and let them know, hey, I didn't mean to not tell you we didn't receive the card in December. We just got it now. So to be honest, until I received the card, I didn't know they had sent one. I thought because I didn't get to send cards this past year, so I thought we just weren't exchanging cards. But I was so, touched that they had thought of me and Marie. And so I wanted to, acknowledge that we did finally receive the card. The other envelope that Marie and I received that day was what I thought was a save-the-date postcard for my cousin's wedding. My cousin had told us that she was going to be getting married later in the year, and so she was going to send out save-the-date announcements. So I was expecting this card. Because my cousin already told me the date of her wedding, when I received this postcard, I just glanced at it and I thought, oh, this is cute, and I put it aside. I did tell her that I received her postcard, but as I mentioned, I didn't pay much attention to the card because I already knew the date. So a few weeks later, just last week, I was visiting a relative, and she asked me if I received the wedding invitation for my cousin. And I said, no, I only received the save the date. And she was like, oh, that's funny. I never got a save the date. I only got an invitation. So I said, oh, that's funny. What does the invitation look like? And she showed me her card. I said, that's not an invitation. That's a save the date. And she said, no, it's not a save the date. It's an invitation. I was really confused. And I looked at the card more close up, and there was a backside to the card that I didn't see. And, I saw the front, and sure enough, it was the same card. And I saw the back, and I didn't know. It had details, and it said RSVP by a certain date. And so I was like, oh, my gosh, this was an invitation. And I just set it aside like it was not important because I thought I knew the information she was sharing. So now I still need to RSVP. So these were the two cards that I had received last month. And the reason that I share these two stories about receiving these cards is, as I mentioned, Namo Amida Butsu is a calling to us. And so it is like an invitation to us all to take refuge in its wisdom and compassion, to go to the Pure Land to become Buddha. From the Buddha side, this invitation has already been sent out. But if we think about it, even though this card has already been sent out, have we received the invitation? In the case of my brother's card, from my brother's perspective, his greeting card was already sent out. But because I never received the card, during the holidays when I was supposed to. From my side, I didn't consider my brother having sent me a card. It was not until the card arrived and I opened the envelope and received the card that I could let him know that we received his greeting. In the same way, the only way Buddha can know that their name has been received is when we have heard it and we can respond with our own recitation of Namo Amida Butsu. From Buddha's side, Namo Amida Butsu means, I invite you to take refuge in this immeasurable wisdom and compassion. And from our side, we respond by our own saying of Namo Amida Butsu with the meaning of, I take refuge in immeasurable wisdom and compassion. But although we may be reciting Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, do we really know what we are responding when we say it? In the case of my cousin's card, or my cousin's invitation, I had received the card, but I did not treat it as an invitation. Again, from my cousin's side, from my cousin's perspective, an invitation to her wedding was sent out. But from my side, because I didn't take the time to really look at the card and read it, I did not understand what was being sent to me. Even though I acknowledged receiving something, I did not consider it an invitation. So I did confirm that I received something from her, but I did not fully respond to the invitation with the RSVP as requested. In this same way, although we may be reciting Namo Amida Butsu out of a rote habit of this is the way we are told to respond, do we really understand that Buddha is sending us an invitation and that Buddha wishes us to respond to that invitation? Amida Buddha doesn't just want us to just receive their calling of Namo Amida Butsu as just a greeting card with a simple response of a surface level Namo Amida Butsu. Oh yeah, thank you, I got your card. But Buddha is always working to get us to understand that their calling of Namo Amida Butsu is a sincere invitation that is coming to us out of great compassion. It is actually more than an invitation, it is an urging. I see that you are having hardships and suffering. Come and take refuge in this true and real, immeasurable wisdom and compassion. Come to my Pure Land to become a Buddha. You are all welcome here as you are. Because this is the heart of Namo Amida Butsu, Buddha is constantly reminding us that this invitation has been sent out by sending us more invitations. Namo Amida Butsu is constantly being calling out to us. If we send out a greeting card, if I send out a greeting card and don't hear back or receive a greeting card in return, I don't know if you're like me, but I'll just move on, no big deal. And if I don't hear from them for several years, depending who they are, I've lost contact. Oh well, cross them off the greeting card list. And if I'm throwing a party, if I send out an invitation and I don't hear back, what I was taught was, well, you follow up once or twice, but if you don't hear, they can't come. Move on to your B list and your C list of guests that you might not have been able to fit initially. But Buddha never does any of this. Buddha does not cross any of us off of their invitation or say, oh, well, you didn't answer, I'm moving on to the next person. Buddha is constantly, always following up with us because it is Buddha's aspiration for all of us to receive this invitation and hear this calling. And so Buddha never gives up on any of us. Because it is Buddha's vow for all of us to hear the calling of the name, Buddha will continue to reach out to us until we are ready to truly, wholeheartedly hear it and respond with the deeper meaning of, yes, I hear you. Thank you for recognizing my hardship and suffering. I want to take refuge in your wisdom and compassion. And I want to aspire to become a Buddha in your Pure Land. In other words, Buddha's vow is not just to send this invitation out, but it is Buddha's vow that this invitation be received by us. Thus, to truly respond to Buddha's invitation is to hear this heart behind the name, to know why we are being invited and what we are being invited to be a part of. For this interaction, for us to develop our own relationship with Buddha, is what the Buddha wants from us. This is the Buddha's intent of the vow. But just like I did not receive my brother's card, and I did not recognize my cousin's invitation for what it was, Buddha's invitation is not always easy for us to receive and recognize. This is why Venerable Shinran urges us to pay attention and do our best to always open our hearts and minds to listen to this vow, to this invitation. To listen to the vow is to hear and reflect on the heart or the essence and the wisdom of Buddha's vow, the why and how of Buddha's invitation. After all, it is not just the Buddha's vow that their name is to be recited, but that it be heard and received by all of us, all beings in 10 directions, without leaving even one person out. So as I close this message, I would like to remind us all that as we live our lives, wherever our lives may take us, let us do our best to keep our hearts and minds open to hearing and receiving Amida Buddha's invitation for all of us to take refuge in its true and real wisdom and compassion, and aspire to become Buddha in Buddha's land of bliss, so that we may be freed, liberated from the fetters of our hardships and suffering that we encounter every day. Let us also remember that to respond to Amida's vow by wholeheartedly reciting Namo Amida Butsu as it naturally comes up for us. For when we encounter and respond to this heart of the Buddha, RSVPing through our own Namo Amida Butsu, Buddha can know that its invitation, its calling to all of us, has been heard. Thus, we can be assured that we will never be separated from Amida Buddha, and we will be able to have Amida Buddha in our hearts and minds as our foundation every day as we live our lives. Thank you very much for allowing me to share my appreciation of the Nembutsu teaching with you today. And I would now like to invite you to bow your head as I read a letter written by Master Renyo, encapsulating the flavor of Jodo Shinshu. Attaining the entrusting heart lies in understanding the 18th vow. To understand this vow means to understand what Namo Amida Butsu is. And so when one takes refuge, that is Namo in Amida in one thought moment, making aspiration and directing virtue is implied. This means that Amida Tathagata directs virtue to us, foolish beings. This is taught in the larger sutra as bringing all sentient beings to the attainment of virtues. So it follows that all the karmic evil and blind passions which we have given rise to since the beginningless past are completely extinguished by the inconceivable vow power. Hence, we dwell in the stage of non-retrogression, or the stage of the truly settled. This is the meaning of the statement, we attain nirvana without severing blind passions. Humbly and respectfully. 新人逆特相というは、第18の願の心るなり。この願の心るというは、ナモアミダムの姿を心るなり。このゆえに、ナモと奇妙する一年のところに、本が猫の心あるべし。これすなわち、皆如来の凡部にエコしまします、心なり。これを大行には、行書種属の苦成就と解けり。されば、虫以来作りと作る悪語煩悩を残るところもなく、願力不思議をもって消滅する言われるあるがゆえに、少女十不体の位に、ジュスとなり、これによって煩悩断絶して、涅槃のと言えるはこの心なり。この義は、東流一途の初段なるものなり。他流の人に対して、格のごとく沙汰あるべからざるところなり。よくよく心的ものなり。あなかしこ、あなかしこ。ナモアミダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマン。
Next, if you would please follow along with the reading of Ryogemon.
I invite you to put your hands together as we recite together Ryogemon, words of understanding of our tradition. We rely upon Amida Buddha with our whole heart for the enlightenment in the life to come, abstaining from all sundry practices and teachings, and giving up the trust in our imperfect view. There is no doubt that the assurance of enlightenment comes at the very moment we entrust, and we recite the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, in joy and gratitude for the Buddha's compassion. We also acknowledge gratefully the benign benevolence of our founder and succeeding masters, who have led us to live in this profound teaching, and we do now endeavor to follow throughout our lives the way laid down for us. Ryoge Shutsugon, Moro Moro no Zogyo Zashu Jiriki no Kokoro o Furistete, Ishi ni Amida Nyorai, Warera ga Kondo no Ichidaiji no Gosho, On Tasuke Sorai to Tanomi Moshite Soro. Tanomu ichinen no toki, Ojo ichijo on tasuke jijo to zonji. Kono ue no shomyo wa gonho sha to zonji, yorokobi moshi soro. Kono on kotowari chomon moshiwake soro koto. Gokaisan shonin go shussei no go on. 次第相乗の全知識の朝からざるご関係のご恩とありがたく存じ候。この上は定めを課せられる恩をきて 一語限り守り申すべく候。ナモアミダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏。
Okay, next I have some announcements. On May the 18th, we will be having our Centennial Commemorative Seminar. It's entitled Hearing and Appreciating the Buddha's Wish. Starts at 10 o'clock, and our guest speaker is Reverend Nobuo Miyaji, who is the Minister Emeritus of Buddhist Churches of America. Following day on the 19th, we will be having our Gotan Ed's Dharma service, which is Shinran Shonin's birthday. And again, Reverend Miyaji will be our guest speaker. That starts at 10 o'clock. On the same day, we will have our Hatsumairi service, which is the first service for infants. It's also at 10. So if you have a grandchild or a child that would like to participate, then please contact the temple. May the 26th is a Memorial Day Dharma service. And the speaker will be our own Reverend Takata. That will be starting at 10 o'clock. And then following that, we will have our memorial service at the Nakotsudo. Some classes that we offer. What is the Jodo Shinshu teaching? And the first one is on Saturday from 11 to 12 via Zoom. And the first class is on May the 27th. Suggested registration fee is $40 for these classes. Then on Wednesday, we also have a class from 7 to 8 p.m. via Zoom, starting April 24th, and this is also a $40 suggested registration fee. On, we have Buddhism Beyond Mindfulness, which is on Saturdays, and the first one will be April 13th. They have chanting service at 10 and then discussion gathering at 11 a.m. And this is led by Reverend Umezu. We started a monthly Dharma Kids program. The next one will be May the 5th. And I think we have a lot of fun. This is also led by Reverend Umezu, so kids have a lot of fun. On the 25th of April, which is a Thursday from 8 to 10, it's a college night. And so they're offering dinner, bingo, games, and it's a chance to meet new people. So the RSVP is required, $10 per person. Then every third Friday of the month, bingo at the temple, starting at 7 o'clock. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of big bingo pots this month, so if you can, please join us. We have some beautiful T-shirts available for sale here. They're $20 each, and we have both crew neck and V-neck styles, so if you are interested, please contact the office or see me for the shirts. And then I think, as many of you know, in 2026, we will be celebrating our 100th anniversary here, and we have a lot of different projects that we would like to complete before the 26th. So currently we have an active fundraising campaign to help pay for all these various projects. And one of them that is being worked on is the replacement of our Nakotsudo. We have up front here a sample of one of the niches. And the replacement Nakotsudo will be delivered here sometime in April of this year. It's a little early for this, but we are having our yard sale June the 15th from 9 to 1. So if you have anything you would like to donate towards the yard sale, you could bring it by the office now. Contact them, and then we'll make arrangements for you to drop off your gently used goods. And then lastly, on May the 5th, the Sawtell Japantown Association will be sponsoring an event entitled Children's Day Celebration here at the temple. And that's going to be from 12 to 3. It's a free event. It's for anybody. We have food truck. We've got games, crafts, entertainment. Oh, what did I say? May the 4th. Sorry. That's right, Star Wars. May the 4th be with you. Okay. Yeah, May the 4th, Saturday. So, excuse me. So please be sure to come to that event. Also, I want to mention that after service, we will be having Dharma reflection session. So please allow about 5 minutes to get set up for that. So with that, thank you all for attending our service today. That will conclude the service. And Sensei, if I can invite you up.
Thank you everybody again for joining. Please join me in closing gassho. Namo Amitabha, Namandao, 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 Namandao. Please offer incense.